This is the Algo Futures Trader Weekly Market Roundup, and you are looking at the Algo Futures Trader 7, built for NinjaTrader 7. We also offered the Algo Futures Trader 8, built for NinjaTrader 8. That is in beta. Either version you can download for free and use in simulated mode as long as you want. So those links will be below. So let's take a look at the markets from last week. This is the MYM. And what I did is just I set this to trade a one micro lot. Normally this is set to trade 3 micro lots. Comes right out of the box, ready to go. But it's not meant to be a black box. So I just wanted to show you some discretion trades that were taken. They were executed automatically, but I had discretion as to which direction to take the breakouts. So this was Monday. We're looking at the MYM again. The initial break to the upside, I ignored. In fact, I ignored all the trades. I didn't like the action this particular day as we were looking at our alpha bias, which was mixed. That's a trend direction. And but late, there was a short trade here that set up that got some follow through down to the support there. So I had discretion as to the target as well. Now on Tuesday here, the only direction was to the long side. So the only breakouts were to the long side. So all you had to decide is, did it agree with the alpha bias? Was the trend up? Yes. Then we could go ahead and take that trade, and then exited basically at the close. Right. So really wasn't anything to do there. So this automated executed the long trade automatically, and then I just closed it out at the end of the day. Wednesday again, the only decision was, the only breakout, opening morning breakout was to the long side here. So again, the between the red and the green dotted lines here are your no trade zone. So the software is waiting for the market to break out of that no trade zone. And our traffic light filter being all green here, let the system execute the long trade. And then it's just managing it there. Now the system has trailing stops in place that will manage it for you. But here, basically just, again, closing out at the end of the day and being done with the trade. Okay, on Thursday, again, the only decision was there were no breakouts to the long side. And so the only breakout was to the downside. And this particular case, basically just once price came down and hit the initial major support here, exiting the trade. And that ended up being a good exit because the market really couldn't get any more follow through, and basically came back up into the opening range. And then I think this is where we at Friday. So Friday was the only probably bad decision. Now we had an outside gap up on Friday, and so there was some buying pressure to the upside, but didn't get any follow through. We were at all-time highs basically, and so that stopped out right here. And there was a short trade later, but didn't basically was getting later in the session and ignored the short side. So just the system you can use. You can customize it. Again, this went from a 3 lot out of the template box. That's what it's set up for, 3 micro lots. Changing that to just trade a 1 lot, and then using some of the filters that we have, and you can check some of the prior videos to look at how we use gaps as a filter, how we use the alpha bias as a trend filter. All right, so here's our ATS web trader, and you can see we have a trend filter here. So when this is all mixed like this, it's a mixed market. Maybe we're going to ignore or stay out of the market. If it's all green, we're good to take longs. If it's all red, good to take shorts. And then the gap bias here. This tells us all the different markets, if we have inside gaps or outside gaps, and depending on how the gap is up or down, what the bias is in terms of what direction we anticipate. So for instance, if we have an inside gap down, you see how this is colored green here. This is the what is that, gasoline? Anyway, that's we're anticipating that it's going to fill the gap, and what's going to happen is the market is going to have to rise to fill that gap. Right, so that's used as a filter as well. But anyway, you can check out the prior videos, how we use gap as a filter, how we use that alpha bias as a filter to filter these trades. So we're not just putting a system on autopilot. We have discretion. We can filter some of these breakouts to the long side or down or to the downside, filter them out based on what we're seeing and what the market conditions are, or maybe a day where we're completely staying out altogether, depending on what's going on. Maybe it's the morning where the Fed is going to announce a potential change in interest rates that afternoon, and maybe we're just going to stay out, wait for that event to happen, and get by that event before we resume trading again. Right, so we're a pilot, piloting a plane. We're not just putting it on autopilot and letting it do whatever it wants. That's the best way to trade it, and that's where you're going to have the most success. Anyway, hope that's helpful, and we'll take a look at the markets again next week.